Configuring redistribution using prefix lists. My goal here is to dive into the practical, nitty-gritty configuration prefix list goodness. I actually have a whole nother nugget on prefix list concepts, but I totally get it. Prefix lists are one of those things that you have to see it a couple of times before it really soaks in. So I'm kind of hoping to kill two birds with one stone. I'd like to kind of review the concept, not go into too much depth, but review the concepts of prefix lists through a practical application of filtering 3 subnets on our little steak router that's distributing these redistributing, I should say, these routing protocols between each other, RIP and OSPF, right? So let's go over to steak. Go into global configuration mode. Here's the syntax of a prefix list. I do IP prefix list followed by essentially the name of the prefix list. I'll just say Jeremy. Followed by the permit or deny. You can put in sequence numbers if you want to kind of squeeze in statements. Otherwise, it increments by 10 by default. So I'll just say permit. Now we type in what I would call the first major match. You might remember prefix lists are a combination of 2 major matches. You say, this is the major network I want to match. So let's just say I'm filtering these guys, right? And I want to notice, you might have caught it, I changed the subnet mask on a couple of these routes just because I want to prove a point, right? I might say, I want to allow all 10 networks. Anything that starts with 10 is going to be allowed by this prefix list. I would type this in as the first major match. Now, if I just hit the enter key, so check this out. If I just press enter right here, it would say, okay, this entry in this prefix list is going to match exactly the 10.0.0.0/8 network. So if I did redistribution, if I said, okay, well, let's now go ahead and redistribute RIP to OSPF, and I'm going to filter it through the prefix list Jeremy, you know what would show up? Nothing. Because I don't have the 10 network that's passing through. I have all these subnets. Now, granted, I'm going to use the subnets keyword when I redistribute RIP into OSPF, but the point is essentially all of these little subnets are going to come through and none of them match this major network 10.0.0.0/8. So what I do is I type in the subnet mask specificity. I keep saying that word. I don't know if it's real. It sure sounds real. So how specific is the subnet mask? So let's go this way. I'm going to say I want to match things from the 10 network where the subnet mask is less than or equal to a 24. Now notice if I want to, well actually if I go this way, if I want to go crazy, I can actually go in and say I want to do greater than and less than 24, which is exactly 24-bit subnet mask, or I can just say, you know what, I want to match anything that is less than a 24. Okay, what does that mean? That means with this prefix list, I'm going to match any 10 network with essentially a subnet mask between a /8 and a /24. So let's just say I've got 10.1.0.0/12. Would that match? Yes, it would, because it's a subnet or a derivative of that 10 network, and its subnet mask is between those two, right? What about 10.16.0.0/16? Would that match? Yes, it is, because it's, you get that 10.0, it's a 10 network, and it's somewhere in between this subnet mask. Okay, what about 10.1.3.0/30? It's a WAN link. Does it match? No, it does not. It is a derivative of this, but its subnet mask does not match that rule of specificity. Well, let's just change the story a little bit. What if I said GE24? Then what? Well, then this doesn't match. This doesn't match. That does match. That makes sense because it's a 10 network, but its subnet mask is greater than or equal to a /24 because it's a /30. That's my flyby review, right? If you want more on that, go check out the full, you know what I'm saying. Prefix list concepts nugget. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say prefix list Jeremy permit 10.0.0/8 LE24. Okay, let's make a little magic happen. I'm gonna go into router OSPF 1, and I'm gonna do a redistribute RIP. Well, let's just go crazy first, right? I'm gonna say metric. Let's just do 100. Subnets are gonna be allowed through. Yeah, that sounds good. So now I'm gonna go over to eggs because I want to see the kind of like the pre. It's like before the weight loss program, you looked like this. Show IP route. And I hit enter, and I see all these little subnets coming through, right? What about after? Okay, so I'm going to go in there, hit the, well, actually, I jumped the gun. I can't apply a subnet, or I should say a prefix list directly to this. I have to apply it through a route map. Okay, how do I do that? Like this. I'm going to do a route map, and let's just say, I'll call it RM. because I'm creative, and that stands for route map. Now I'll just say permit 10, right? Throw it in there. Now I'm going to do a match IP address. Notice my option right there, prefix list, and it's going to say, well, what prefix list you talking about? I'm going to say the one called Jeremy. Double click that, paste it in there, and bam. Now, notice I've got the option. Notice I hit the question mark right there, and it says, oh, do you got another one? If you put multiple matches on the same line, Cisco devices will OR them together. Meaning, if I hit this and I said, I want to match the prefix list Jeremy, Sue, and Sally, right? I've got 3 different prefix lists with these 3 different names. The Cisco router will do OR commands. It'll say, okay, I will match the things in this, or that, right? That's a big difference from if I put them on separate lines. Like if I hit the up arrow and did match the prefix list Jeremy and match the prefix list Sue, that's actually, if I hit the enter key, that is exactly the way of saying it, and match the prefix list Sue. So for a network to pass through, it's got to clear this guy, and then it's going to go through this one and clear Sue before it's actually allowed through. Just a little bonus route map trivia there for you. So let's exit out of there. Let's do a show route map. Looks good. Sequence 10, prefix list Jeremy. I'll go into router OSPF1, hit the up arrow, get my redistribute rip command, and then I'll say, and I'm going to attach it or apply the filter of route map RM. Enter. Right? Now I'll come back over to eggs, and what should I expect to see? Derivatives of the 10 subnet that are /24 or less. And I do. Isn't that awesome? I want to like, oh, I wish you were here with me. Seriously, I need a friend. I need to go on Twitter and be like, I just recorded the most. It's not the same. Let's do this. Hang on. Let's exit out of this. I've got to try it one more time. Let's go into the prefix list. Let's do this. No prefix. No presence. No presence. No prefix list. Jeremy. All right. I'll do IP prefix list Jeremy, and let's change the story again. Let's do permit the 10 network, 10.0.0/8, right? But this time I'm going to go GE25. And what I'd expect to see is all these other little subnets, the /456, which have the /25, making their way through. What do you think? That's so going on Twitter. You now know how to apply prefix lists using route maps to accomplish route filtering. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.